Hi YouTube! Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting Spoken from the Spectrum. My name is Michelle and I am so happy that you're here. So this is part 4 of my series where I have been going over the Samatha Craft checklist, Females with Autism, and Unofficial list. And I've basically been going over every single trait about her years of research and study and interactions with autistic people. I believe she's autistic herself. And, it's been really good information. Hopefully it's been helpful for you. This is the final list. So without, any further ado, let's continue. Section I, confusion. Had a hard time learning that others are not always honest. Yes, this was a very, 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 very hard lesson to learn. I honestly just learned this lesson within the last 4 months. I'm laughing because I can't believe it took me so long to realize that, people aren't always honest. And if you are just realizing this, let me know, okay? Let me know that I'm not the only one that it took so many years to realize that people aren't always honest. Number 2, feelings seem confusing, illogical, and unpredictable, self and others. Yes, sometimes I have a hard time understanding myself, but with this newfound information, I feel like I'm understanding myself a lot better. But yeah, sometimes people understanding them can be confusing. If you saw in part 3, I talked about how, sometimes I feel like I do understand people, but then their reaction kind of makes me confused because what I thought I was picking up isn't what they're putting down. So yeah, I get confused. Number 3, confuses appointment times, numbers, and or dates. Yes. And sometimes I feel like my brain is moving too fast. Like I can be writing down a number and I'll write the numbers out of order or something like that. It happens all the time. So yeah. Number 4, expects that by acting a certain way, certain results can be achieved, but realizes in dealing with emotions, those results don't always manifest. Sometimes I have this vision in my head of how things are supposed to go, and then, it doesn't always happen that way. Number 5, spoke frankly and literally in youth. Yes. Number 6, jokes go over the head. Yeah, and I'm going to share something with you guys that, was really hurtful to me when I finally understood what this person meant. I used to work at this job, and I remember one of my bosses saying to me, he said, and these were his literal words, he said, if you were white, you'd be blonde. And, at that time, my coworkers, they were laughing, so I laughed, right? I was like, oh, okay. Didn't understand what it meant at all. I'm like, what does he mean by that? Didn't understand. So then I remember, I don't know if it was a few months or a year later or however long the timeline was, but I remember talking to somebody about it and telling them about that, and they were like, he was calling you stupid, right? Now I'm just like, wow, that was really hurtful. But at the time, I didn't know, so yeah. Number 7, confused when others ostracize, shun, belittle, trick, and betray. Yeah, because I would never do that to somebody else, and I feel like I'm a pretty genuine person. I try to be kind and nice to people, and I expect the same in return. I really don't expect anything, really, but I hope that those would be the interactions I would have, but hasn't always been that way. So yeah, I do get confused about that. Number 8, trouble identifying feelings unless they are extreme. Yeah. Trouble with emotions of hate and dislike. Yeah, there are some things that really grind my gears, get underneath my skin. Number 10, feel sorry for someone who has persecuted or hurt her. Yeah, so many people have done me so wrong in life. It's really crazy because Now I can look back at it. But, I would still feel bad for them. Like, and I can forgive people easily because, I know we're not perfect. And, I'm able to kind of put myself in people's situations sometimes and try to understand why they might have behaved that way or whatever the case may be. So, yeah. Personal feelings of anger, outrage, deep love, fear, giddiness, and anticipation seem to be easier to identify than emotions of joy, satisfaction, calmness, and serenity. Yeah, that is definitely true. Number 12, difficulty recognizing how extreme emotions such as outrage or deep love will affect her and challenges transferring what has been learned about emotions from one situation to the next. For the longest time, I could not explain my emotional instability. Like, I really just did not understand why I was so emotional. Number 13, situations and conversations sometimes perceived as black or white. Yeah, I could get stuck in that all or nothing, black or white thinking sometimes. But I'm learning that there's gray. Number 14, the middle spectrum of outcomes, events, and emotions is sometimes overlooked or misunderstood. In parentheses, she has all or nothing mentality. Yeah, I just answered that. Number 15, a small fight might signal the end of a relationship or collapse of the world. Ooh, yes. A fight can feel like the whole world is over. And I know it's dramatic, but it's really how I feel sometimes. But I'm learning, I'm growing. So yeah. 16, a small compliment might boost her into a state of bliss. Yes. All right, moving on to section J, words, numbers, and patterns. Number 1, likes to know word origins and or origin of historical facts, root cause, and foundation. Yeah, I talked about this a little bit in my first video. Yeah, I love to know things. I love to get to the bottom of things. And it just brings me a lot of happiness because, things just click. It makes me excited. Number 2, confuse when there is more than one meaning or spelling to a word. I wouldn't say so, just because in childhood I learned pretty early the differences between words and the spellings and things like that. But I can definitely see how it could be confusing. But this doesn't apply to me. Number 3, high interest in songs and song lyrics. I also touched on this in my previous videos. Love music. I love songs. I love analyzing lyrics. Yes. Number 4, notices patterns frequently. Yes. Number 5, remembers things in visual pictures. Yes. I can close my eyes and I can literally see whatever it is that I'm trying to remember or whatever I'm explaining. So yeah. Number 7, has a remarkable memory for certain details. Yeah, especially things that are important to me. My memory can be really good. Number 8, writes or creates to relieve anxiety. Yes, I touched on this in my first video. I do have another channel and I'll leave a link to that if you guys want to check that out. Yeah. Number 9, has certain feelings or emotions towards words and or numbers. Yes. I love numbers. I love numerology. I've said that before. Yes. Number 10, words and or numbers bring a sense of comfort and peace akin to a friendship. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, guys. So now moving on to the final section, which she has listed as optional. This goes over executive functioning and motor skills. So number 1, simple tasks can cause extreme hardship. Yes. Some things can be draining, like doing dishes. And it's weird because sometimes I like doing dishes. Like if I'm listening to music, I can do dishes and I can find joy in it. But other times it can be really hard to do it. So that, for me, that waxes and wanes a little bit. Number 2, learning to drive a car or rounding the corner in a hallway can be troublesome. Ooh, my car, there's a lot of scratches like on the bumper on both sides. And that's from turning too close to the curb, going either left or right. So yeah. Number 3, new places offer their own set of challenges. Yes and no, because I feel like sometimes I like to be in a new environment depending on if I feel stuck in my current environment. It's hard to describe, but I would say yes and no. So it just depends on if I wanted to be in that new place or if I didn't want to be in that new place. Number 4, anything that requires a reasonable amount of steps, dexterity, or know-how can cause a sense of panic. Yeah, like, oh my goodness, like putting together like a desk or like furniture or anything like that. Yeah, that can be pretty stressful and overwhelming for me. Number 5, the thought of repairing, fixing, or locating something can cause anxiety. Yes. For example, like my keys, I have to hang them up as soon as I get home, because that way I won't lose them and I'll know where they are. I don't like to lose things because then that can slow me down and it can be a snowball effect into other things. Number 6, mundane tasks are avoided. Yeah, for the most part, I don't really like to do anything that I don't have any interest in because I don't have any interest in it and I don't want to do it. So yeah. Number 7, cleaning self and home may seem insurmountable. That depends. Like if I am at a point where I'm burned out, absolutely. I can definitely, I've hired cleaners many times because I haven't been able to clean myself. But sometimes when I have the energy, like I said, if I'm listening to music, I can put myself in a zone where I enjoy cleaning and I enjoy organizing and making things look neat and nice. So for me, that goes back and forth. Number 8, many questions come to mind when setting about to do a task. Yeah, that goes back to me overthinking a lot of the times. Number 9, might leave the house with mismatched socks, shirt buttoned incorrectly, and or have dyslexia or dysgraphia. Yeah, I said this earlier. I've definitely left the house with mismatched socks. I've definitely, had my shirt on backwards or inside out. Definitely believe I'm dyslexic. Haven't been diagnosed, but yeah, there are times where I, read a word out of order or whatever the case may be, or write it out of order. Like if I'm spelling, my brain might be just moving so fast that like I'll skip a word and then I'll have to go back and write it. It's hard to explain, but let me know if you guys have experienced that. Number 10, a trip to the grocery store can be overwhelming. But guess what I learned? I learned to wear headphones now. If I go, typically I don't go during peak hours. I like to go either very early in the morning or very late at night. But if I happen to go when it can be busy, I have to have my headphones in, and that helps a lot for me. Number 11, trouble copying dance steps, aerobic moves, or directions in sports gym class. Yes, I am not the best choreographed dancer, okay? Choreographed routines are hard for me. But if I dance and free flow and just let my body move with the music, I think that I can be a really great dancer. But when it comes to like a choreography, forget it. Forget it. Number 12, has a hard time finding certain objects in the house, but remembers with exact clarity where other objects are. Not being able to locate something or thinking about locating something can cause feelings of intense anxiety, even with something as simple as opening an envelope. Ooh, this is a loaded one. Yes, so let's break that down a little bit. Has a hard time finding certain objects in the house, but remembers with exact clarity where other objects are. Yes, that goes back to misplacing things sometimes, but again, I've learned to do little things that could help me. Like, for example, hang my keys up when I get home, things like that. Not being able to locate something or thinking about locating something can cause feelings of intense anxiety. Yes. If I have to try and find something, oh my goodness, forget about it. Like, I already have anxiety before I even start looking for it. Even with something as simple as opening an envelope, there was a very, very long time where I did not check my mail because the thought of opening my mail would bring intense anxiety. So I just wouldn't check it. That was it for me. Like, I'm just like, okay, well, but I've gotten to a point where it's been a little easier for me to do. Let me know if you guys relate to any of this. That is it for this list. I feel personally, I relate to a lot of these things. And it's nice, again, to have an answer, just because for so long I didn't understand myself. I didn't know who I was. I felt so out of place, so like foreign. Like I just felt like I didn't fit in. But again, with learning this information and learning about autism in females and how it is grossly underdiagnosed in women, because 1 in 45 people actually have autism, whether male, female, black, white, Hispanic, no matter the religion. Like literally autism, anybody can be autistic, okay? 1 in 45 people are autistic. So I think that it is time that adults with autism are recognized, because it can be really hard for us to live in this world. I think that I think it's time for autistic adults to be recognized. Let me know if this has been true for you guys, but for me personally, it's been very, very challenging to navigate this world. I've done my best, and I think I've done good enough, but it's been very stressful to navigate this world. So let me know if you guys feel like that, or if you've ever felt like, it's been a burden to get through life, because I've definitely had that feeling. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and this series. Can't wait to make more videos and share more about autism. I think a lot of the times autistic people are kind of swept under the rug because we have learned to mask and adapt to this world. But that doesn't come without challenges, having to mask and hide who you are. So I'm very excited to bring awareness to this. And if this has created any questions, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave me a comment. I would love to connect with more people who are similar to me. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the rest of my content.